Wishing. May all beings be well and happy. Lecture 17. To act, we must call upon our wisdom. Seeing suffering and being willing to heal it does not guarantee that we'll act wisely. To be wisely compassionate requires especially that we attend carefully to our own lives and treat ourselves with compassion. What we learn through self-compassion provides important clues for the compassionate treatment of others. Thus, we return to the importance of the Golden Rule. Learning to practice compassion for ourselves and others is a lifetime endeavor, but it is one of the most important things we can do. The good and the bad. Sometimes it isn't easy to wish others well. Every now and then, perhaps more often than we like to admit, we can feel that those who suffer get what they deserve. It's especially easy to feel this way about those who have been the source of great suffering to others. We may even take special delight in thinking that those who have caused harm are getting what they deserve. I used to think that. I still think that, but I will try to change my perspective after reading this book. However, life is a bit more complicated and less clear-cut than we often think it is. It's not always easy to discriminate between good and bad. The differences between all of us are matters of degree rather than quality. There are things we might call good and bad in each one of us. No one is wholly good, and no one is wholly evil. When we see deeply into the life of those we are inclined to despise, we can recognize that whatever vile acts they may commit do not completely express all that they are. We can understand that their hatred and greed arise from fear, self-centeredness, ignorance, and misunderstanding, the very things that afflict all of us from time to time. If we ever lose sight of the moral ambiguity that pervades the human condition, we run great risks. Without insight into our own propensity to act in unwholesome ways, we become blind to our own faults. Without insight into the goodness of others, it becomes all too easy to hate them, especially when we feel our hatred is justified by their wrongdoings. However, these reactions distort the reality of what we are and lead us to behave unskillfully in ways that cause suffering to ourselves and others. They incline us to forget how much the personalities of all of us have been shaped by circumstances beyond our control. The danger is inherent in forgetting that we are all capable of both wholesome and unwholesome actions, have led sages throughout the history to urge us to love our enemies as well as ourselves and our neighbors. This admonition can be considered as one of the humanity's truly great moral developments. Love thy neighbors, love thy enemies, and love thyself. Although loving enemies may be one of the most difficult things we can possibly do, rivaled perhaps only by loving ourselves, it is clearly one of the most beneficial practices we can perform. It's easy to see how hatred lies at the root of much of human misery, but what we seem to find difficult is accepting that we cannot end hatred by hating. Hating those who hate may feel cathartic and even righteous, but it brings us no closer to a solution to what is a very deep problem. Only love and compassion for others can end hostility and hatred. We can never transform an enemy into a friend with hate. So true. We can never transform an enemy into a friend with hate. We also forget what hating others does to us as individuals. Hatred is a manifestation of our false self. It is not what we truly are. To allow ourselves to be consumed by hatred distorts us, wounds us, and scars us. Hatred causes us to misperceive the world, confusing the beautiful and the ugly, the true and the false, skillful and unskillful. Hatred is sure to cause us to suffer, and it is itself a manifestation of suffering. Alternatives to hatred. While it is not difficult to grasp how hatred can perpetuate animosity between people and disfigure our own basic goodness, it is also not easy to find alternatives. How does one erase a lifetime of conditioning in which we have been encouraged to detest others? Hatred can become a habit that is not simple to break. Fortunately, the mindfulness tradition offers many practices to help change this pattern, including some we have already discussed. There is one exercise that is particularly effective in awakening the natural compassion that lies within us. This discipline is known as metta meditation. Metta is a Buddhist term that usually translates as loving kindness. This ancient practice has long been the cornerstone for cultivating compassion in the Buddhist tradition. It's a great tool for helping us to wish others well and arouse our resolve to alleviate pain and suffering. Like other mindfulness techniques, metta meditation requires commitment, regular practice, and patience. It works by reconditioning our mind and opening our hearts. The intention of this practice is to awaken our determination to erase suffering wherever we may find it. Metta practice does not discriminate between those who deserve our compassion and those who do not. Compassion is something all beings deserve, even those responsible for horrendous crimes against humanity. I'll read it again. Metta practice does not discriminate between those who deserve our compassion and those who do not. Compassion is something all beings deserve, even those responsible for horrendous crimes against humanity. Metta meditation is a series of wishes for happiness of all beings. It begins with the recitation of aspirations for oneself. And loved ones, and concludes with the same aspirations for all beings without exception. Metta meditation in practice. This guided meditation is a form of practice that has been developed and personalized over the years. Feel free to work with this practice and adapt it in ways most suitable to you. For example, alter the wording of the aspirations of change the people for whom they are intended. At the mention of each category, try to picture a particular person and keep him or her in your imagination. The practice is more effective when you are thinking of particular individuals. At the end, however, we do get more generic, and it will be difficult to create a concrete image. As you read each aspiration, try to form a sincere intention based on the wish. Be especially attentive to those you have difficulty wishing well. Make yourself comfortable and follow the instructions. You may assume a traditional meditation position or simply sit on the sofa. You may find it helpful to close your eyes. In your mind, form an image of yourself and wish for yourself the following. May I be well and happy. May I be well and happy. May I have no fears or sorrows. May I be healthy and free from illness. May I live calmly and peacefully. Now image your parents and make the following aspirations. May my parents be well and happy. May my parents be well and happy. May they have no fears or sorrows. May they be healthy and free from illness. May they live calmly and peacefully. If you have one, think of your spouse or life companion. May my spouse be well and happy. May my spouse be well and happy. May he or she have no fears or sorrows. May he or she be healthy and free from illness. May my spouse live calmly and peacefully. If you have a child or children, hold their image before your mind. May my children be well and happy. May my children be well and happy. May they have no fears or sorrows. May they be healthy and free from illness. May my children live calmly and peacefully. Imagine one of your relatives, a brother or sister, aunt, uncle, or any family member to whom you are close. May my relatives be well and happy. May my relatives be well and happy. May they have no fears or sorrows. May they be healthy and free from illness. May my relatives live calmly and peacefully. Think one of those your older benefactors, a teacher or other elder. May my teachers and elders be well and happy. May my teachers and elders be well and happy. May they have no fears or sorrows. May they be healthy and free from illness. May my teachers and elders live calmly and peacefully. Consider a friend. This is a friend for whom you feel great affection. May my friends be well and happy. May my friends be well and happy. May they have no fears or sorrows. May they be healthy and free from illness. May my friends live calmly and peacefully. Now call before your mind a person for whom you have no strong feelings, a neutral person. Although you do not know this person well, you know that he or she shares a common bond in being human. May my acquaintance be well and happy. May my acquaintance be well and happy. May he or she have no fears or sorrows. May he or she be healthy and free from illness. May this person live calmly and peacefully. Imagine an enemy or person you strongly dislike. Although this person is an enemy, he or she is just like you, with pains and frustrations, desires and hopes. May my enemies be well and happy. May my enemies be well and happy. May they have no fears or sorrows. May they be healthy and free from illness. May my enemies live calmly and peacefully. Consider all human beings. Dwell a moment on their pain and anguish. Suffering afflicts every one of us, and everyone wishes to be free of it. May all people be well and happy. May all people be well and happy. May they have no fears or sorrows. May they be healthy and free from illness. May all people live calmly and peacefully. Tenzin Gyatso, the 14th Dalai Lama, said, "If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion." So nice. And it's true, we need to practice compassion. Now think of all living beings, from the loveliest single-cell organisms to the highest forms of intelligence. Every one of them wants to live and be happy. May all living beings everywhere and without exception be well and happy. May all living beings everywhere and without exception be well and happy. May all living beings everywhere and without exception have no fears or sorrows. May all living beings everywhere and without exception be healthy and free from illness. May all living beings everywhere and without exception live calmly and peacefully. Loving kindness meditation. Many people have a hard time believing that simply wishing can free others from fear, illness, and other forms of anguish. However, medical studies have been conducted that support the claim that prayer has a tangible, empirical effect on the health of those prayed for. So the studies already have evidence that prayer has a tangible, empirical effect on the health of those prayed for. That's interesting. And I believe that. I know that. Whether or not you believe in the effects of this practice, it is important to consider the fact that relieving a little of hostility of just one person, yourself, will make that world a little better for everyone. Perhaps if your enemies were truly happy and free from suffering, then they wouldn't be your enemies. After all, what makes them such difficult people derives from their own struggle with dukkha, the very thing that makes you a difficult person for them. Plus, it's a little harder to get angry at someone for whom you've been wishing happiness. Loving kindness meditation is a way to cultivate the mind and heart, to produce wholesome actions. The practice doesn't, however, tell us in advance specific ways to act. Rather, the practice sensitizes us to the manifestations of suffering and prepares us to respond when the opportunity arises. Important term, metta meditation, an ancient practice that has long been the cornerstone for cultivating compassion in the Buddhist tradition. Metta is a Buddhist term that usually translates as loving kindness. Questions to consider. How is the well-being of others related to our personal happiness? How is it possible to be compassionate toward another without feelings of affection? Do you agree with the Buddha's contention that hostility cannot be ended with hostility? Yeah.